bond rating
Yes,
rated
AAA.
AAA?
AAA.
So they don't look to the future that far, or?
They do, but we have actually a pretty healthy balance of, if you look on page 2, the top slide, relative to some counties, we have a healthy balance of property tax and sales tax. So those two things combined are really the only things that the county can control. That's about 56% of our revenues, and we have almost no debt at all. So we can very easily take control of, if something were to happen financially, we have the ability to tax to control it. With having almost no debt at all, we have very, very little liability, and our assets are, through the roof because we own them all. So yeah, we're a AAA bond rating, and that's a relative rarity for local governments in Wisconsin. There aren't a lot that are in that same boat. And if we needed to, you may not believe this, we could borrow $650 million tomorrow. Of course, it would be insane to do that. But by law, you can borrow 5% of your equalized value, and for us, it's about $650 million. So that's 5 years of budgets, by the way.
So if the interest rates are good, are you considering borrowing anything at all?
That discussion has started. My concern with this long-term analysis is if we do not explore shared services, that ultimately we will begin going down the path of borrowing. What I worry about with borrowing, first of all, I was raised in Richfield and in Washington County as an administrator, and borrowing's like a 4-letter word, but it's an endless spiral. So once you start borrowing, the way that it works, we can borrow, let's say we borrow $10 million and we're going to pay it off in 10 years. We can increase property taxes by $1 million without going to anybody for permission. Unlike schools, if they borrow, they've got to come for a referendum, right? Counties and cities don't have to do that. We could borrow, raise the levy by $1 million, okay? But now you're hooked, because what happens is the remainder of the money that you had been using to pay for, let's say it was roads, that $1 million is going to get shifted to something else. The minute you do that, it is so hard to shift it back, because now it's supplementing or subsidizing some other program. So I worry that once you start borrowing, you get into the cycle of shifting cost and getting addicted to interest-bearing debt that you can't get off of it. And I don't have to point very far at all to show you examples of where that's happening, and it's hard to get off.